Alright, here's everything that is wrong with my 1974 Caprice Classic. First of all, starting out with the outside, the paint's not in all that great of shape, and it's got a little rust spot in it. Paint's chipping everywhere, but the car's 45 years old, so oh well. I bought it for $200. It's got another great big hole right there, but oh well. I'll fix that. Paint chipping stuff, all the seals are coming off. It's got a bunch of surface rust. Hood doesn't close all the way. Grill's broken. Missing a little piece of trim, but who cares about a little piece of trim? Now the bumper has been pushed in a little bit. I do think this car rear-ended somebody one time before I got it. Because if you look at it and you look real close, you can see it's kind of pushed out right here just a little bit more than this side. Just a tad bit more. It's not missing this piece right here. This is on the inside of it. And let me show you the inside. I haven't changed the steering wheel out yet, or the interior. I hadn't got any parts for it. And would you look at this? Still no motor. Yeah, I know. You could probably tell that from the beginning of the video. I do have it finished. The motor's finished. Transit's finished. Just waiting on parts to be able to bring it up there to put it in, because it's missing the carburetor. So it's not completely finished. Doesn't have any power steering on it. Nothing. Pop the hood. Show you how big of an engine bay is in this thing, because it ain't got a hood. I think the brakes are still good on it. Headliner's starting to come down. The headliner is starting to come down a little bit on this thing. Dash is all sorts of cracked. The vinyl is not that great. Over there, it's missing the guard thing and has some duct tape on it. It's got a clock in it, though. The glove box isn't really even a glove box. The carpet's okay. It's missing one of the door things for the power locks. Let me get into the back seat. I apologize for the shaky cam, by the way. Back seat isn't that good. What's this? Is this a spider web? Not anymore, it's not. There's a little trim piece right there for the outside. It did have cigarette lighters. For your kids that smoke. I heard that joke before. Let me get the keys out of the ignition, even though, because that locks the wheels. I don't know what happened to my shift knob on top of the column shifters. Column shifter, it ain't gonna have that no more. I'm gonna put a BAM shifter in it. Door is still closed. Still closed solid. If I can get the hood open with one hand. Nope. Just know there ain't nothing in there. Now I will tell you what I got for it. I have a 402 that has been bored up to a 409 with dome pistons, mid-rise intake. It's a stock bottom end, but the pistons are domed. It's got ported and polished heads, custom headers, high-rise intake or mid-rise intake from Speedmaster, a 614 duration lift comp cam, custom roller cam, whole motors roller, there's roller rocker arms, roller cam. The transmission going in this car is a fully built TH400 that I believe has an aftermarket bell housing. It's smaller sprockets. It's a race transmission. And I'm going to hook it up to an Auburn limited slip differential. So this car is going to be pretty bad. I'm going to put some shocks underneath it for racing stuff. That's one of the tires that came off of it. The tire had to be borrowed for a truck. This car's not running right now. It's missing the classic logo. And I've been offered a bunch for this car before, just as it sits. As I've said, I paid $200 for this thing. Oh, the key's broken for the trunk, but it does still open. And I need to clean this trunk out because it's all kinds of dirty, as you can see. It's got a bunch of hubcaps still in here, a bunch of dirty tires. I just don't have anywhere to, I don't know where to put them yet. A bunch of crud on the bottom. There's a vine growing up in here. I need to clean this thing out. I doubt the speakers work in this car. You can see where the paint was still good on it though. It was like performance green, I think. Because this car, I bought it from my shop teacher for $200, and he bought it for next to nothing. Because and the only reason he bought it was for the motor that was in this thing. Because this one, instead of having the 350, had the bigger 400 in it, making a whopping 180 horsepower. I know, blistering. Absolutely phenomenally fast, I'm sure. 180 horsepower, 200 something foot-pounds of torque. Because this was the performance package of this car, I'm pretty sure. It didn't matter now. It's going to be a sure enough performance car when I'm done with it. Because it's getting a 402 big block put in this thing. I found for $300 complete. Oh, yeah, the mirror is just sitting on the dash. You don't get to look at yourself in this car. But the rocker panels are good, the frame's good, the underneath is perfect under this car. Hardly any rust. You can tell it's lived down here and only been driven in this. You can tell it's lived down here and been stored, or was, at least, you can tell it's been down here its whole life. Because since I live in the south, our roads, even though, yeah, we get a lot of rain, we don't get snow or ice or anything, and we don't live near the coast. So our undercarriages don't rust out. Because we don't salt the roads down here. Yeah, oh, the fuel cap in this car. If you've ever wondered where a fuel cap is on these older cars, right here. I know you can't see it that well, but right there, right there. I think all the lighting worked in this car because this car did run and it was on the road. Here, I can show you that inspection sticker right here. See that? 2015. But it was drove into the shop. That was the last year we did inspections in this state. See here, Walmart. You can't see it. 2018. 10/14/2018. But it was brought in 2019 and the motor got ripped. So it's been sitting for about 3 years now. Maybe 2020, maybe a year. I can't remember when the motor was ripped out of it. But anyway, the motor was taken out. And, it's getting a new one. It's a slow process. It's a very slow process. I only work a minimum wage job. I'm trying to find something better. But you will eventually see more videos of this. Of this car, eventually. Oh, it's missing that vent, but who cares? The vents are not all that great in this car anyway. This car has definitely got its problems, but it's a 42-year-old, what would this car be? 46-year-old car. No, 47, I'm sorry. It's nearly 50 years old, and it's been driven every single day probably, for, since it was brand new, because I'm the second owner of this car. Well, unless you count my shop teacher, but legally, I'm the second owner of this car. Actually, probably third, because nobody ever put it on the title that they claimed this car, other than the older lady that owned it before all of us did. Because I think what had happened was she'd either passed away or got to where she couldn't drive anymore. So her daughter inherited it, and her daughter or her granddaughter inherited it, and was like, I don't want this old piece of junk, even though it wasn't a piece of junk. It ran and drive just fine. It ran perfectly fine. Sold it probably to our shop teacher for dirt cheap. He ripped the motor out of it, and the trans put it in. He built the motor. He had the motor built for a mud truck. I put it in a Jeep, which there's another story on that. I wish I could track that Jeep down and talk to him about doing a video on that Jeep. But he took that out, and basically it sat behind the shop for a little bit, behind the Votech building, until one day I jokingly said, you sell that car? And he said $200, and I was like, all right, bet. He didn't believe I was serious until one day I brought him $200 and said, you got the title? And he was like, yeah, I got the title. And I come back he's like, no, let me get it tomorrow. And I come back the next day and I'm like, you got the title yet? He's like, oh, you're serious. And he didn't have the title that day, but he brought it the next. He wanted to give me the bill of sale for it that day, and I would have taken it, but I didn't want my parents ripping my head off at the time, because it's not like I didn't trust him. I know he'd have brought it back. I know he'd have brought it back. I'm 100%. I'm pretty sure he would have at least. But I didn't want my parents ripping my head off, so I had to get him to bring me the title before I bought it off of him. Which is perfectly reasonable. Oh, yeah, this car says it has 38,211 and 4 miles. That is wrong. This car does, I guarantee you, this shell does not have that many miles. If I had to guess, it's probably, since it's been on the road at least since 2018, probably put about a 2 in front of that, maybe a 3. At least a 1. That's good practice with these old cars. Always put a 1 in front of that number. Some cars, sure, that's believable. Like if the car only has, if it says odometer's reading 60,000 miles, but the car looks pristine and it's an old luxury car or just a pristine car in general, yeah, it probably does actually have 60,000 miles on it. But it's good practice just to always put 2. The way I do it is a car in this shape, I put 2 in front of. A car that's in okay shape, but you can tell it's been driven, I put a 1 in front of. But if it's a car that's absolutely immaculate, it's probably right. All the glass is good in this car. Everything's good in this car. I know when I finish with it, I got to replace the seals. When I finish with it, it's going to be a bad car. It's going to be a fun car. Probably too much for me to handle because this is my very first project car, my very first build. So, this video is starting to drag on a little bit. With that being said, I would just want to say thank you for watching if you made it this far. You at least like hearing me talk. And if you do, or you fell asleep, either two. But if you do like this video, I'm going to sit down. You can hear me better in the car. But if you do, I wish I could... Can I switch the camera? I'm going to show you what I look like. No, that was a picture. Okay, never mind. If you do like these videos, if you made it this far, you at least like hearing me talk. So, or you fell asleep, one of the two. So, if you want to help the channel because you like hearing it, just press the like button, subscribe, comment, tell me what you think of this car. Tell me what cars you might like. Just talk to me in the comments. I'll respond. I respond to every single comment I get because I don't get that many. So, and another thing, share the video. If you want to help this channel, spread the word of the channel. Spread all my videos to other people. Anyone you think might be interested in it, share it to them. What's the worst they could tell you is, I don't want to watch that. But I understand if you don't. I am just some random kid on the internet. So don't let me try to enforce what you do. And I know my quality's not that great. I also wanted to ask another question. If you made it this far, how often do you want me to post videos? I can do it daily if you want me to. On the weekends, I might not get a video out because I don't really have anything to film on the weekends. Or something like this, my car's broke down. I don't really have anything to film other than this car or what I've already filmed. Just talk more about what I've already have. But just let me know. I'll work something out. I do something. But anyway, I have a Discord too, if you want to go check that out and talk to me about cars and stuff. If you want to talk to some random kid on the internet about cars. But with that being said, if you like my video, I know I say it a bunch, but please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And, but most importantly, just thank you for watching and have a good one.